Morning students, welcome to your science class. Students, today we are going to proceed further with our third day of discussion regarding the chapter which is computer virus. In the meantime, before we start, there is an important announcement for the students who have still not collected the books. We request you to collect the book so that you can be on time. It is very important for you to do your work every day. We may call you in school to check your work, and we may ask you to send the picture of the work which you have completed. So it's important that you do your work on daily basis. So here we were discussing about malware, and in our earlier chapter we have been discussing about virus. Today's topic is malware. So let's try to see what's there for us. Before that, let's do a quick recap of what we have learned till now. Yesterday we were talking about the types of computer viruses, and in that first we discussed about the program file viruses. If you remember, or if you go through the video again, you will come across a certain file extension which I mentioned there. Now these file extensions were .ovl, .dev, .sys, and a lot of other examples we discussed about. So what program file viruses does is it affects all the executing files, which is the .exe files, gets executed because of this virus. Then we discussed about the boot virus. We discussed about how it affects the boot record or the master boot record of the system, which performs the booting system. Then we discussed about the macro virus, and this virus we discussed about how it affects all the program virus, for example Word, Excel, PowerPoint and MS Access, etc. Today, and we also discussed about the Melissa virus, which was released in 26th March 1999, and it was designed to infect the macros in Word 97 and 2000. So let's see what is there in today's topic. In today's topic, I'm going to talk about malware. So what is the aim of our class? The aim of our class is that we will be able to learn and distinguish between different types of malwares. And so what does malware mean? What does the word malware mean? Now we have the keywords now. So the keywords what we have today is the worm, Trojan horse and spyware. These are the three words which majorly I will be talking about. Here comes the malware. Now malware is made up of two words, which is the malicious and software. So when you combine these two words, then it becomes the malware. Now malicious means something which is suspicious or something which is dangerous, or who has an unintended behavior is called as malicious. Now what is this? What is a malware? Malware is a software which will enter into your computer and will damage it without your knowledge. Now it is a trouble causing program, so naturally if it enters your system, it will create a lot of damages to your computer. Now there are different types of malware, which one is virus, then there are worms, then there are rootkits, spyware, ransomware, remote access, keylogger, a lot of them. We are not going to talk about all of these in this chapter. We are going to talk about the major ones, and the three major ones are the worms, the Trojan horse and the spyware. These are the three which we will be talking about and discussing in details today. So first comes is the worms. Here we go. This is, you can see there is a worm which is eating the system. So this pretty much tells us that this is something which is not good for your computer, which is something little dangerous. So let's come back. Now worms, we all know that a computer network is formed when two or more computers are connected to one another. So worm is something which is interested in computer network, right? So naturally it is a kind of malware which what it does is it sends copies of itself to other computers. Now when it does that, it it requires human actions. For example, when you are transferring the file, that is only when the worms will get transferred from one system to another. Major companies, major organizations face a great challenge because of worms. So what they have to do is they have to spend the considerable amount of time in maintaining the network security. There are crores and crores, billions of rupees spent every day by the large organization just to protect their network from these worms. Now, what worms it does is that naturally it will use network. It doesn't requires any human intervention, so that makes it a bit dangerous, right? So even if you are not transferring the file from one computer to another, and just the system is connected, whether it is through physical cable or through wireless, then automatically the worms will move from one system to another, and it will replicate itself. Replicate means duplicating itself, and will find major amount of systems getting infected because of that. And worms will, more than the system, it damages the network. It will make the system network very slow. It will make the system network inaccessible, or may cause trouble. So which may cause huge amount of loss to the business organizations. So these are the few characteristics of worms. Next, I'm going to talk about is the Trojan horse. Yes, you can see this. This is the Trojan horse. You can see, if you look at this picture carefully, you can understand that this is a wooden horse. Right? This is a wooden horse, and this was used by the Greeks. When it was used during the Trojan War. And what is the story behind it? Is the story is the Greek wanted to invade the city of Troy, and that is when the in between the war they gifted this horse to the king of Troy, telling him that this is the horse which was gifted by the Greek goddess Athena. Athena has gifted it, and it brings luck, good luck, to whichever place it is there. So, but the Greeks had a very bad intentions. There were soldiers hidden inside this horse, the well trained soldiers, and the objective was to invade the city of Troy. So this is the story of the Trojan horse. Let's see what does it means for us in the computing term. Trojan horse, which is popularly known as Trojan, is a kind of malware. Now, it will appear it is useful, but actually it causes damage to the computer. Now, what it does is it gives unauthorized access of the computer. So once it is installed, and it will give unauthorized access where somewhere the other person may control this. So that makes them very dangerous, as these systems or networks can be remotely controlled by someone else, which may lead to loss of personal, confidential and financial information. Now, worms and Trojan horse are like viruses. So they will harm data or affect the performance and speed of the computer. So that makes it considerably dangerous. Next comes is the spyware. Now, what is a spyware? So as you can see this picture, you will be able to identify and see that this is how a spyware looks like. Now, a spyware is something which is very, very dangerous. Why it is dangerous? We are going to understand that in a next slide. Before that, let's look into the picture. You can see the spy, and you can see the password, the emails, the debit card information and the personal information of web is getting scrutinized by the spy here. Similarly, as the picture suggests, spyware is also dangerous. It is also called as the spy bots or the tracking software. Now what it does, it gets installed without your permission. So it will not take your permission whether it has to be installed or not. Once it is in touch with your system, once it is there in your system, downloaded in your system, automatically it will get installed without your permission. Now there are two ways in which it will get downloaded. When the user downloads something from the suspicious website, right? When you download something from the suspicious website, that's where spyware gets into your system, and the user clicks on something pop-up window and that appears very catchy. For example, in class several times I have discussed that you might get pop-ups stating that you have won $1 million, your system is at risk, your bank account is getting closed, you have won a lottery, I want to transfer 1 million to your account. All these catchy messages is something which has got misintention behind it, and there could be a possibility that there is a spyware or the intention of installing the spyware in your computer. Now, what are the characteristics of spyware? Spyware consumes a lot of memory. So what it does, it will naturally make the system slow and difficult to work. Now the spyware, more than that, it collects all the information, your email information, your debit card, credit card, banking transaction, financial transaction, your Aadhaar details, your passport details, your visa details, any information which is there in your system. It very simply puts the entire things at risk. So spyware is also something which makes it dangerous. Next, we are going to so this is the today's topic, and that brings us to the end of today's discussion. So our question of the day is, dash are also called as tracking software. What is called as a tracking software is something you will be answering this question in the forms app. We will be sending you the link. So morning till evening it will remain open. The same day you will have to answer the question. So I hope you have completed your long answer question which I gave yesterday. Please note that was a long answer question and should have been done in detail. That is question number 1. Question number 2 and question number 3 is the short answer question. You will do that in your computer notebook in a proper good handwriting in details, so that we can, when we collect the book for correction, we are able to verify that. So students, just in case if you have any doubts or questions in related to today's class, you can reach me through the comment section. So till then, thank you for your time and have a great day ahead.